Because if you want the life that you actually truly aspire to, is it impossible to get there? But I think anyone would answer no. It's not impossible. It just might take a while, or it might take lots and lots of adapting, adjusting, and overcoming the particular challenges that you'll be faced along your journey. But the reason that you're faced with these challenges is that it makes it all worthwhile. Because if things were just easy, then it would take the edge off of the success that you would feel when you get there. That's why it's important to challenge yourself and to test yourself, to find the best version of yourself every single day, because you don't know who's looking up to you and you don't know who you're inspiring. So it's really, really, really important to make sure you're doing your best, not just for yourself, but also for the people that look up to you. And then in that way, when you're doing your best every single day, what happens is you don't make room for that negative self-chatter, that defeatist or victimhood mentality. Just get out of the way. It's doing absolutely nothing for you apart from making you feel down and making you feel negative. So get it out of the way, weed it out. And then when you set your targets on what it is that you want to achieve, you can actually see a clear path looking straight down the barrel of a tube where you can see into your future, and it's like you're looking completely aligned at what you plan to do. And that is the way that the successful people have always achieved great success. They have a goal, a vision of where they want to get to, and they will not stop until they get there. It's a bit like, the famous story of Thomas Edison. He failed 10,000 times when a reporter said, how do you keep going when you failed 10,000 times? And Edison replied simply that he hadn't failed 10,000 times. He just found 10,000 ways not to invent the light bulb. So he didn't see it as failure. He told himself a different story in his mind, that he wasn't failing. He was progressing to actually get to the point where he found out how to make the light bulb. And that's why we don't have candles anymore and lanterns. We now have lights, thanks to his relentless pursuit of the vision that he had. And that is what we're all here to do. We're all here to have a purpose, and we're all here to pursue our goals and dreams. And it's important that we do it. So one of the other things, like an example, was earlier on today, before I was doing this deep trance visualization, which is an extremely powerful technique, I was doing some high altitude training in the extreme lab environment, where you go into a lab and they set the altitude at a much higher altitude than sea level, and you can train on the bike. And as my body was getting used to it, it would have been easy to get into the thought process of, ease off, back off, why are you doing this? Why train at altitude and so on. And it's like, look, that's an easy way out. But the other chatter that you can have is, come on, let's do it. Let's see what you can get out of this. What can you find out here? What can you learn about yourself? How long does it take for your body to adapt? When will you start to see the improvements? And in that hour-long session, it took 40 minutes of seeing the numbers go down, and then they miraculously bounced back up as the body adapted and adjusted to what was going on. And it shows that there was a 40-minute window where it would have been ripe for negative self-talk, that negativity to creep in. But how you replace the negative self-talk is with something powerful and something that takes you towards your vision, that better, faster, leaner, stronger, wiser, more knowledgeable version of yourself. And this is what it's all about. This is why we push. This is why we want to see what's possible for us. And also, not only does it do it for ourselves, because sometimes we get wrapped up in our own world and we think it's just us. But the reality is there's people out there that are looking up to you. No matter how big or small, you have an impact on other people's lives. So it's important to show the way to remove the negative self-talk, to get it out of the way and to show what's possible. And like my client today, his mind was blown. He says, I cannot believe how deep and profound and completely almost emotional it felt creating that vision in a space of 30 minutes. And that was someone who says it's so difficult to actually visualize a goal. It's so difficult to create one. 30 minutes, his total internal dialogue had changed. Not only the internal dialogue had changed, but what his future looked like, what his vision looked like, why he was doing it, what he learned about himself, what actually drives him. And these are the things that you can find out by doing this work, because it's so easy to, in this day and age, jump on the phone, get on a doom scroll, get involved in, pointless chat, watch some Love Island, watch, just mind-numbing TV and it just extracts your attention. It's like, look, put that aside. You've got goals, you've got dreams. Get to it. It's like when I talk to kids. I've never spoke to a kid and says, what would you love to do in the future? And a kid going like this. Oh, I don't know. It's really hard to set a dream or a goal. Kids are so energetic. They're like, oh, I would love to do this. And they can come out with the most hilarious bonkers stuff. You know, even stuff that you go, only the innocence of a kid could come out with something that crazy. But it's the principle that they are not held back with this chatter of nonsense that you seem to have picked up upon on your way. And when I'm doing work with clients where we're doing some hypnosis therapy, and we go into where they picked up this negative self-talk, what you find is there's always a point in their life that they weren't like this and that they had a better version of themselves. They had a cleaner and more positive mind frame that was devoid of these negative sort of incantations that they had picked up along the way and started to drive into their mind and believed was there. So what I would say to you is that if you do have any of these signs of negative self-talk, first things first, just recognize it's there, because most people don't even know. The second thing is start changing your perspective. And the way to change is ask yourself, what is it I do if I keep talking like this? How does this best serve me? And the conclusion you'll come up with is it doesn't. It's actually sapping your energy and ladling you with procrastination and making you feel down. So how do you change it? Well, my favourite way to change it, and there is many ways, but my favourite way is, what do you want if you could have anything? How would you like your life to look? And do the 180-degree turn and look at what you would like your life to be like. And build a vision, because when you build that vision, you know what you're aiming for and you know what you want. And when you know that what you want, you can start to look at the world and all the things it has in it and start to think to yourself, how can I get closer to that vision? And when you get closer to the vision, something happens. What happens is you start to recognize the things in the world that will draw you closer to your ultimate vision. And when you notice these things, you can then, importantly, take the right action to seize the opportunity, to take the gambles, to take the reach out, to make the connections, to go out there and put your name out there and see what it is that you can do to get closer to that ultimate vision. And that's the purpose of it. And the power of that creates the momentum, the upward shift, where you can get out of your own way and start to make a big impact towards your visions, goals and dreams. So remove the negative self-chatter, pick a vision and start filtering out the world to show the things that will take you closer to that ultimate objective. Because what you'll get then is things like more control over your life. You'll start to have better moods. You start to feel much better about yourself. You'll start to build self-confidence and self-worth. And you will, more importantly, start to move towards things in your life that are deeply important to you. And we're all unique, so they're not all the same. And what's right for you will just be exactly the thing that is right for the way that you see the world. But what is universal across us all is that negative self-chatter that you must remove at all costs to take away that drag on your results. And the best way to do it is to build and look at that vision every day. Take the small steps that will get you there. And as a reminder, no goal is achieved in one big leap. It's made up of tiny steps. So start breaking it down, bag the wins, build a streak, and make your way there.